guys, Liam is from USA Scholarship, so I'll do basically just as a ex-scholar, my personal point of view of my time there. Then Liam will have a chat about the process, more of the details around the scholarship side, and then I'll go again just quickly on the rise and how sort of that program works at Kingsley as a stepping stone to America. So can you all see the picture of Atlanta? That is the big city.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this is where I was at Georgia State University, which was downtown Atlanta. I think those tennis courts actually are part of the sports complex, possibly. So I arrived there when I was 18. I'd never been to the States before. Fresh off the plane, absolutely roasting hot, humid hit me. And I thought, wow, what have I got myself into here? Initially, I didn't actually want to go. Moving away from home. I never moved away from home, Devon boy, things like this. And then just chatting with my parents, and we agreed that you just can't pass up this kind of opportunity. And I've been let go by my club, Exeter. So I went and did it. And here I was, 4 years ahead of me, arriving in a massive city from a small little village in Exeter, in near Exeter. So Liam, can I change these? I think you'll have to change. Yeah, so here's a few pictures. I'll just talk and you can have a look at these. But the thing that stood out, I suppose, most was how well we got looked after, the facilities, the coaching, the tournaments, the experiences, the quality of football over there was way above what I thought it was going to be. There's Liam will go through there's different levels of football, but I was really sort of taken aback by how seriously they take it, and it suddenly was like definitely not a next option for me. It was like the option. The top right is a brand new stadium that was built in my third year there, and that was the American football stadium, which we also used for soccer. So that was a pre-season fitness test there. I think 40,000 that seated. So that was built in my time there. Immaculate grass pitches, lovely kit. My teammates there, I think I counted earlier, seven of them are UK. One Bosnian, one Kiwi, so one from New Zealand. So a big mix. We had Germans, we had Japanese players. It's really international, and it's amazing because I've now got friends and I go see them, in Rostock in Germany, in the States, wherever it is. So I've got friends all over the globe. Pictured down, celebrating from a conference win. So you have your sort of league football, as it were, and then you have your tournament if you make it into that at the end of the season, and then potential to play in the national competitions. And that was the same. Bottom right, I think I just scored actually an open goal. I think the keeper was up for a corner, so I don't know how I can get away with pulling that face as a celebration. But it was awesome. My parents came to visit me. Uh, it's just a fantastic experience. You've got physio rooms with ice baths and hot baths. We even had and our facilities were very good, admittedly, but we had an underwater treadmill. We've got physios you can go and see throughout the day, in between classes, whenever it is. And yeah, so the football side of it was everything I hoped for and probably more as well. We trained for 2 hours a day. We'd of long distance ones. We got a couple of flights a year to games. It was top tier. They take it really seriously, and college or university sport there is very different to how you might sort of imagine it over here. It's sort of their equivalent of professional for younger people. So yeah, I was a bit taken aback by that, but very pleasantly. So the next slide, Liam, is more about sort of the off-pitch stuff. So I went in as a first year. I was in this dorm in the top left side there. Just me and a roommate. He was from Southampton. He was a 1 year pro there, and we were in this little room together, which was. But I was taken aback. I was like, "Oh no, what am I gonna do here?" So that first year was kind of tough in a way. Moving away, the building in the middle that was like hundreds of students in the same halls. Amazing football pitch in the middle for us to mess around in, but very daunting to start with, but soon you make loads of friends. So I had my group of friends, which were off the pitch as well, which was massive because you spend a lot of time with the boys on the field, and it's good to go and have a bit of downtime with people who are not talking about football. Um, as much as that might sound crazy to you guys. And then on the right was one of our four dining halls or canteens, and that one was 24/7. So we were a thumbprint, and it was in and eating whenever you liked. However much you liked, as long as the American footballers hadn't got there first, was sort of the rule, because they would snaffle it all. But yeah, you had your salad sections, your grills. You had like make your own sandwiches, so you'd ask what you want in your sandwich, they'd build it for you, this kind of thing. So nutrition wise, it was yeah perfect for an athlete. And again, like just all you can eat any time of day, and that's not the same for every university, but that was my experience. And then my second, third, and fourth year at Georgia State. These bottom photos are my apartment complex in our apartment. So I moved in with two older lads in an apartment, two English guys. And this was where you then go from sort of your transition from coming from school in a dorm into your first year, and then into your second and third and fourth year, being learning to be an adult a bit more, using learning how to do your finances and things like that, because I got a check. That was my scholarship worked out as a check rather than actually going directly into my accommodation. They gave me money, and then I decided where I wanted to stay, how much I wanted to spend, um, and whether I want to spend how much on groceries, things like that. So suddenly I had to become aware of budgeting and bits like that. We had a pool at our apartment complex with all the balconies overlooking it. So Sundays were usually spent sort of milling around there, with all the guys. We'd have maybe six or seven of the apartments full of the boys' teams, and then we'd have the girls' soccer team. There'd be volleyball players, tennis players, golf players, all in those apartments there. So any of the sort of social bits of it, we tended to get together as big groups as the sports teams, not just the football team. So again, it was just fantastic atmosphere to be in, and really, really strong social network that I've created from my time there. The next slide, I believe, is a bit of sort of just outside of it. So what else I did spending my time? This was New York with Alex on the right. So you get spring break, as you've probably famously heard of. This one doesn't look like your typical spring break. I'm not in my bikini. But yeah, I did spend a couple of years. My first couple were down on the beach in Florida. This one I decided in my last year when I'd grown up a bit, I went to New York and thought maybe I'd explore a bit more of the country, because it's a huge country, and there's on the left big waterfalls in North Carolina. You've got such an array of cultures and experiences that you can go after. So using those holidays was massive. And then this the next slide was, you basically have the off season, which Liam might touch on, but from May to July is no university. So as similar to England, you have quite a long summer break, much longer than school. And this was what I decided to do with my second and third year. I wish I'd discovered it my first year, but I was so desperate to sort of see my family. I missed them so much that I didn't know it was about. So this is a summer league, semi-pro, in terms of all my accommodation and food was taken care of, and they put you up in apartments again with other players, and you play in a summer league basically. With it's sort of an under 21-ish league, and you're allowed, I don't know if the rules are still similar, but you were allowed at that time a few older players in your team, and we would get 2 to 3 thousand fans a game for those, and they would bring drums and set off flares and all this kind of jazz. It was just, that was probably the most magical part of the whole experience. And again, it's just to show that they really love their sport, no matter what it is. If there's something to get behind, they'll come and get behind it. So you can go and find your level, and you can play and have these amazing experiences that you might not otherwise be able to get. And I certainly had the knowledge that that would probably be the last chance for me to have an experience like that, where they're chanting sort of your name and things like that. So that was how I did my summers. And it was different to university, because the afternoons you wouldn't go to class. So at university we'd normally train in the morning, and then we'd have our classes afternoons and evenings, and then in the summer we would do playing in the morning, and then afternoon sort of just off to do your own thing. So yeah, I didn't touch on the classes wise. I chose my major when I got out there, pretty much, which is your degree. You do some sort of foundation classes which cover a broad spectrum, and then you kind of, I see it as you sort of just narrow up as you get older and older through your years. I did a psychology degree, but it gives you much more flexibility in the States to kind of pick your own pathway more so than you get in England. So I could have gone down quite a few different routes because they have that first year where you hit a broad spectrum and you can figure it out from there. And you can even have up to sort of your second year to decide on what you really want to do, what your niche degree, your major wants to be. So yeah, I didn't find the work too overbearing. Like the balance is they're more than understanding if you're an athlete that of how the training works. You don't ever miss out on training, you don't ever miss out on games, anything like that. But again, of course, they expect you to uphold your grades throughout. And the final slide was just sort of, I guess I just thought I'd include this photo. This was my farewell, saying goodbye to one of my best mates who's an American guy. And yeah, I was absolutely in tears at this moment. It still almost brings back the emotions. This is my last game, and just how good the experience was. I was just so grateful. I think in that moment that I had 4 years and made the best friends ever, and played amazing football, and just lived sort of the dream kind of thing. So yeah, I thought I had to include that one. And I haven't seen Lucas since invited to his wedding, but it was during COVID. So hopefully I'll get back to see him. I went back to Atlanta to see the whole group in January. So my coaches were still there, and a few of the players were in and around Atlanta having finished university, and some of the English guys have stayed over there. They've married and have got jobs over there and things like that. So yeah, all the players, all the boys have gone in different directions, but yeah, they've all really made the most of it, and it's given them a platform to go and really do what they want to. But yeah, so that's my experience. I think Liam will go on to sort of the process and details and stuff, but afterwards, and any questions and things you want to ask, feel free about that. But yeah, I'll hand over to Liam for the next bit.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Frank. That was awesome. I think I'll do well to top that, that you've able to kind of really well reflect what that journey's like in 4 years in about 4 slides, which was pretty amazing. And kind of everything that you talk about, like I went through and all players do really, is that it is the closest thing to being a professional footballer without being one. But second to that is all the feelings that kind of Frank had. Like year one, I really missed home. I wanted to see family. So I came home, in the Christmas and summer break. But then after that, I stayed out there the other summers and played and really loved it and wish I could have done it all over again. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. And also what was pretty cool for you, Frank, it's almost like you weren't even sure about doing the process. And then, well, hopefully, given what you've said, it was one of the best decisions you made to go
Yeah.
through that. What was the highlight of your college career?
I would say it might have been when my parents came over for the conference final. My parents and my sister came over, and yeah, just to see the smiles on their faces, for them to see like me in my group and with my coaches, and then to meet everyone was like, wow, cool. That was really cool. Yeah.
Well, it's a bit surreal that one, like bringing two worlds together that have completely.
Yeah.
Was that a surprise?
Yeah.
Was
So
it they were coming?
no, I did know they were coming. I didn't know my sister was coming, but I knew they were coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Awesome. Thanks for that. What I'll do is before I get into the content of the slides, it might actually be a good time, and also wary of everyone's time on a Friday evening, but
Mhm.
maybe just
Yeah.
to reiterate what Frank said there is a different college, but let me just try and play it. Hopefully you can hear it. Let me just try it. Frank, you can let me know. Oh, saying that, will it actually work? Hey, happy here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I won't play the whole video, but this might be more interesting than just listening to me. Is so Callum was a player who was released by Colchester United at 15, so didn't even get a scholarship. So a lot of players think that you have to have been a scholar. You don't. He wasn't great academically, he won't mind me saying, but through this system, he's now still a professional to this day. And he was at Creighton. So he started at a school, Hastings, which was an NAIA school, which was a good fit for his football and his education. He did well for 2 years. And then we moved into this school that we're going to see here called Creighton. This actual season, he played up with a guy called Duncan Maguire, who got Player of the Year for the country and actually is one of the highest paid players in the MLS now. So that's pretty cool as well because you are literally playing with and against former pros. But yeah, that being said, if everyone can still see this, I'll play bits of it and just skip through just to highlight kind of what Frank said, really, in terms of how professional it is.
Hi guys, my name's Callum Watson. I am a student athlete here at Clayton University. I play for the men's soccer team. I've been asked to do a little match day vlog to give you guys a better understanding of what it is like here on a match day in America. So I'll be showing you what I do, my normal match day routine, up until I basically go out for warm up so you can get a full understanding of what I do. Today we play with the Providence Fries in our team. So this is the front of our stadium. Very debatably the best stadium in the nation. Our highest attendance this year was about 5,500, which was for Oktoberfest against number one Georgetown. So yeah, I'm going to try and get inside the stadium. I'm going to get inside and give you a look from the inside perspective and what it's like from pitch level. So yeah. So I'm out here at the stadium. Here's the little view. So like I said, this holds around 5,500 fans. Normally on a match day, we average around 1,000 to 2,000. So overall, we get a really good turnout here in Omaha, even when it's cold like today. So this is where we'll be at around 7 to get into our locker room. So this is what our locker room looks like. Obviously, we're very privileged to have a locker room like this. Got all the banners up here of the college's success. Little sayings here.
And even then in my Gutierrez and right with an early marker. Here's Toledano bringing it down into the air. Net. Goal! Manu Toledano. Sixth goal of the season.
Awesome.
So yeah, hopefully that also brought to life what Frank was going through there. The commentary can be that insanely bad. I don't know if any of you heard of that with side net and early markers, but yeah, you'll get used to that. Probably brought back memories there for Frank. Let me go back into the slides, but again, I don't know if there's any Colchester United fans listening, probably not. But for Callum, he's a lad who got released by Colchester at 15. They're getting about 2,000 fans at a home game, and then he's just playing at college in America and sometimes playing in front of 5,500. He actually then went to Canada and got signed by Halifax Wanderers, who you can see there. And then last year he got bought by an MLS Next team called Chattanooga. If you go, little social media plug, but if you go to our Instagram, these two guys that feature here, Matt and Callum, both incidentally released by Colchester before Scholar, played against each other in Chattanooga last month in front of 15,500 fans, which is pretty awesome. So, yeah, these two are great success stories for us. Who Matt actually, which we'll talk about, did get drafted into the MLS, so which is pretty cool. But yeah, check out our website, ussportscholarships.com. Feel free to check out the social media channels as well. We've got more insights about what it's like to be a student athlete in America. And then, as you can see here, official partners with Ferdinand Collective. This might mean nothing, but we're official partners with the League Football Education as well. So we work with majority of the professional clubs in the UK. Believe it or not, that is me. Just proof that obviously clearly a lot older than Frank, but I did once play football, couldn't grow a beard clearly at that time. I won't bore you with too much of the details, and to be fair, it's always a bit naughty putting Norwich and Ipswich on there being an Ipswich fan. But yeah, look, I was at Ipswich 9 until 19, thought I was going to get a pro. That never happened. Looking back, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Lived in Chicago for 4 years, did fairly well out there, graduated completely debt free, which was great. Got Player of the Year for the country 2011, 2012. If there's anyone listening that was born in that year, I'll start taking the years off, I think. But yeah, as you know, all jokes aside, it was the best decision I ever made. Graduated debt free, came back, did my master's degree, and then very American, but I was inducted into the Hall of Fame at my school about 3 years ago as well. So yeah, for me, and for, it sounds like with Frank as well, these are definitely life changing experience. But I think that's enough airtime to that photo, so I'll move on. I guess next stages is why would you look to go to America? Without getting too political, don't let Donald Trump put you off. It'll be pretty much done by the time you get out there. But in all seriousness, again, it's a massive place. I'd never been to America before I moved out there, like Frank. So I'm from Ipswich, very different to living in downtown Chicago. And I didn't understand the levels, the divisions, the teams, how scholarships worked. But I guess for parents listening to it, pretty much all athletes out there are paying way less for university than if they went to uni in the UK. So, Frank, without disclosing too much, but you came out completely debt free from your school.
Yeah,
And how
yeah.
much was the school a year?
Oh God, I want to say for an international, it's got to be up of 50,000, 45. Like, I'm pretty sure it was more than that.
Yeah. So same with mine. My school was 50,000 a year, so 200,000 over 4 years, and me and Frank have both come out completely debt free, which is pretty phenomenal. Now, let me chuck some caveats in there early doors. Is that I guess Frank, you were academy background, I was academy background. Like academics is a factor. I had straight nines, so there's various factors in there. But what we'll talk about quickly today, just as an overview, is there's some schools that are $15,000 a year with no scholarship, and then Harvard and Stanford 100,000 a year. So it's just about finding that one school that suits your ability, academics, educate, location and finances, but also recognizing that everyone develops at different ages. So the good thing about America is, unfortunately, in England, if you're not in and around a first team, you're deemed not good enough at the age of 18, more often than not. In America, as we saw with Callum and Matt there, those guys are graduating at 22 and then going on to play professional. In fact, the guy who we can see here, released by Ipswich, played semi-pro for a year, went to a Division Two called Lake Erie, did unbelievably well. We moved him to Hofstra on a full ride, and then he's playing pro USL One for Texoma now. So, yeah, lots of examples of guys where the journey is very much about where you finish, not where you start. As we keep saying, college sports closest thing to professional without it being it. If you look at the numbers, over 800 schools offering over 25,000 on average per year in athletic scholarship. For those of you that listen that are very academic, then you might, how does that degree compare? Frank touched on some really great points. I love the flexibility of it. So I did a business degree, but focused in on the business classes years two, three, and then I did a marketing specialization, so focused in on that in year four. You can pick your classes around your training schedule, which is great. And look, you get a 4 year degree as standard as opposed to a 3 year degree in the UK. So you could argue that's worth more. And also, if you Google or chat GPT top 50 schools in the world, over half of them are going to be American, right? So the education system's very strong. Opportunity to travel. Obviously, Frank, I bet you never w imagined that you were going to live in downtown, uh, Georgia. So that was pretty phenomenal for you. And I never thought I would live in downtown Chicago. So unbelievable opportunities to also travel, like we saw with Frank going to Carolina and New York. I went to over 20 states during the 4 years while I was out there. I actually had a girlfriend in England the whole 4 years. So that was probably the biggest mistake I made. So I missed out on spring break every year. So yeah, maybe don't do that one. And then yeah, as cheesy as it is, I would describe American college life as magic. It's almost like the Disney effect. I know that's so American of me to say so, but Frank, I feel like it warrants that because I
Yeah,
had an idea in my mind, but then when I went out there, it way surpassed it.
yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Good stuff. So then moving on from that one, again, don't want to spend too much time on this because I get for some of you, you're right at the early start of your journey, but there's a lot of different letters on this page, and it probably means nothing to everyone other than me and Frank. But there's different governing bodies in America, there's different divisions. The point of this is to showcase that there are good facilities across all of them. If you're listening to this and you got average of below fours on your GCSEs, you would most likely have to start at bottom middle here, NJCAA schools. Whereas academically, purely academically, if you got above that, you could technically go to an NCAA or an NAIA school, but it's matching the academics with the ability. And what I would say is there's been hundreds of players that have started in the NJCAA and then got drafted into Major League Soccer. So I know it can be quite easy to look at this and think, well, Division One must be better than Division Two. And Frank, I'd say like the top schools, that is true, but obviously you can't get relegated or promoted. So
Yeah,
if you took the top 25 Division Two programs and the top 25 NAIA, and then you took, the bottom 50 D1, you wouldn't it's the same,
There's some
but
overlap there. Yeah.
there's massive overlap. And in case any of you like Canada, we also do place some athletes into youth sports in Canada, but very few. So majority would be American. Or if I go back a couple, LSU, which is top left, we've got a female player there at the minute. You can just see the scale of it. They're getting over 85,000 at a home game, and maybe show my age, but Shaquille O'Neal went there, if anyone knows who he is. So yeah, that's the cool thing as well. Like Tiger Woods went Stanford, Steph Curry went to Davidson. Scotty Scheffler went to Texas. So like these are, as I said, the places where future world stars. Michael Jordan wasn't bad at basketball. He went to North Carolina. Um, I'll probably park it there because, as I said, I kind of just talked over this a little bit, but the key point is there's over 2,000 football teams in America, and it's just about finding the one that feels the right fit for you. And hopefully, maybe coming into this, you had the misconception that you need to be an academy player, you need to have straight nines. That's not the case. But obviously, that does help your case if you are playing at a higher level. So if you've not been in academy, are you playing 18s football, or will you get exposure to 21s or first team football? That can have just as much value as well. But you can see the scale of it. There's over 500,000 student athletes in the American college system every year. In terms, I guess a little bit about us, but again, feel free to go on the website. We do get over 20,000 applications a year. And then quite unique with us is we handpick 50 players per sport per year. The only exception is football, where we would have 50 male, 50 female. And the reason why we have this selective approach, which again, why we're partnered with Ferdinand Collective, is it's about delivering the best customer service and support and providing actual genuine pathways. Unfortunately for me, I found out the hard way that that isn't always the case because I had a really bad experience using a company. Had to take a gap year because they didn't get me any in like the right offers. Then I failed the eligibility centre. Had no support with the SAT. After a couple of years, I'd have liked to have transferred and moved schools, but that they wouldn't support me with that either. Frank, did you use an agency when you went out, or was it all
No,
direct?
I just got very lucky. There was a coach connection. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, so Frank obviously got real lucky in the sense that not only that, but it sounds like you had an amazing time for 4 years as well. The reason why I say that's lucky is obviously if you just knew a school in England and then you went, oh, I'll just go to that one. But obviously you want to have all the options possible and be able to explore that. But yeah, we've done this for over 15 years now. We've placed over 3,000 players, but I'll save the sales pitch on a Friday evening and you can check out the website. This looks a bit like I'm going to do a weather report, but the purpose of this is to say that, again, very different to the UK is Frank didn't start this process thinking, I want to live in Georgia. I didn't start this process thinking, I want to live in Chicago. In fact, my decision was based on thinking the Chicago Bulls were cool, which again, I think shows my age because they haven't won a championship since 1998. But that's kind of the frustrating but exciting part of this process. Until you start it, you don't know where you're going to end up. But firm believer, everything happens for a reason, and you should end up at the school that's the right fit for you. And then it's just, again, very cheesy, but like the world's your oyster, because if you do really well there, it's a bit like professional sports. We could then help move you on to an even better team. So we talked about three lads tonight already who started at a school, did well, moved on to another one, and then ended up becoming a professional. All this fun reassurance stuff. We have got a Trustpilot page. Feel free to check that out. Got hundreds of reviews on there. As I said, we've been doing it a long while. Beyond that, there's a lot of information in the slide. Easiest way to think of what we do is like a football agent. You're going to judge us based on what interests and offers that we get you first and foremost. But again, feel free to obviously got Frank on that you're going to be seeing every day pretty much. So that's awesome for you to pick his brain on things, but also you feel free to contact us. But I didn't understand things about entrance exams, eligibility centres, health insurance, visas, flights. So obviously we support you with all that fun stuff as well. And then also just, again, it's a 4 year journey. So we're there for all of our athletes from start till finish. I will actually, if it's okay, Frank, just play one more quick video for
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
If you've not been to America, the reason why we've got this tour to Vegas is because same as me, same as Frank is, I'd never been to America. Now, let me chuck the caveat in that all of America isn't like Vegas, so I'll chuck that out there. But we do a tour to Vegas every February. We take in 48 male players, 20 female, and we enter a tournament there. It's pretty phenomenal. There's over 1,000 teams. 250 college coaches there, so you're going to get incredible exposure. All of the players that came this year are now either college players or heading out next year. But there's also Wigan Academy was there, Macclesfield, Dortmund, Sao Paulo, like there's incredible teams. Anyways, I'll be quiet on that one and just, it's only a minute, just quickly show you from this year's tour. I know whenever I play that, the next question is from parents, whether they can come as well, um, which can happen as well. But yeah, what was pretty phenomenal about this year's tour, so if I quickly go back, um, if you like look at this picture is actually from the 2024 one. Every single one of them is now a college player, which is pretty phenomenal. I'm not saying they all get recruited at the tournament, but it's a chance for additional exposure. And you might not all have heard of it, but this year one of our female players actually got scouted by Cal Berkeley and just started playing there. So I know Frank, you'll definitely know the strength of that school. So that was pretty awesome. Another example here at the bottom, this coach actually saw this player and he's just finished his second year with him at Rocky Mountain. So, and yeah, the backdrop's pretty phenomenal. But on that one, just while we're on it, so flights, food, accommodation, 3-day tournament, NFL Raiders stadium visit. We'll go to a Division One school, which is called the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and we'll go to a college, probably basketball game during that time of year is 1,850. We are an atoll tour provider. That one is first come, first serve. So you might actually think I don't even want to go to America for university. Then you can come on the trip. You might decide you want to do it, having gone, or you might say I miss home and mum's cooking or whatever, and therefore I don't want to go. That's also, I think, a good thing to realize that having been on the tour rather than, never been. So as long as you're not 19 at the time of us going, then yeah, you're all good. So yeah, more information on that on the website as well. Um, yeah, hopefully that's given you a quick overview. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but we've talked about Matt's journey from being at Colchester all the way through to getting drafted into the MLS. He actually then incidentally got bought by, who did he get bought by? Maidstone United back here in the UK, which is National League. I'm not saying that's Premier League, but still pretty phenomenal. And then he got bought back by Chattanooga Red Wolves, which are in the USL right now. So, but look, you'll have all heard of, or possibly Jack Harrison, who plays for Leeds. He came through this college system. He went released by Man U, Wake Forest, New York City, and then I think Leeds, Everton, Leeds. So yeah, if you're good enough, you will still make it. But pretty awesome that Jack Harrison also has a degree as well. And we've talked about Callum's journey. So yeah, at that point, I'll shut up. Sorry if I took too long on that, but yeah, I think Frank really set the scene really well with his journey, and mine hopefully helped add some flavour to that as well. But if anyone after listening to this today purely on the American side of things, Frank can share. Well, look at the website, but can share my contact information as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think where sort of Liam and USA scholarships, where that can be so helpful is all just also helping with all the muck that you have to, like all the admin side of it and all those bits that I just, and my mum was just like, I just don't get any of this. And that's where they can come in and just sort of and handle those bits. So I just wanted to quickly end with the FC Rise program, which you guys might have heard of or might not have. So again, through the Ferdinand Collective, we've got after the FC Devon, the academy stuff, the younger age groups, 16 plus, your sixth form program is at Kingsley. So we're looking at this as our direct stepping stone for our players to go and play really good football full time at college. Next one, please, Liam. So the elite football program, it's sixth form education and it's a career path into the professional game. Yeah, next, Liam, I won't touch on all of this. This is a big one. So in terms of the actual training, so I've started up this week with the guys. So I've met all the guys in the program, the FC Rise program at Kingsley already. So we've had 2 sessions, Wednesday, Friday. We'll do compete in the college league, so good standard of football every Wednesday, and then we'll train Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursday will be a sort of recovery S&C, and then we'll train Friday again. So it's again a full-time program. I will be the coach, and you get video analysis. We'll have strength and conditioning. We'll have analysis sessions in the classroom. So everything that hopefully prepares you guys again for the next step. And one of these steps is the US universities, and that'll be a massive one that we'll be looking at creating a really strong pathway for the players. Cheers, Liam. Off the pitch, it's either your C-Tech or your B-Tech. So the C-Tech is the sports science, but it's the level 3 version. So that's equivalent. I'm pretty sure that's the equivalent to 3 A levels. You can do that and A levels, and some of the players on the team do that. So they do the sports science level 3 and they do an A level or two. Or you can do 3 A levels, 4 A levels, whatever it is. We've got a player in the team who's doing maths, further maths, chemistry. So it's you can it gives you a massive array of options, and it means you can stay in full-time education, which is massive. And when Liam's talking about the scholarship options and the academics going into that, my scholarship was made up of 50% football, 50% academics. So in terms of me being able to afford it, I was very lucky that I had the academic background and I could support my football, and they could therefore be like, all right, we might be more likely to give Frank a scholarship because we can give 50% out of the sort of academic part and not go 100% from our sports part. So yeah, that's a massive part, and we'll really be looking to create a good education to football balance. Thanks, Liam. Won't be necessarily for the guys who are local, but for anyone who's listening who is from further afield, we do boarding options from full to occasional. So if you want to board and go home at the weekends, or you want to board every now and again because you want to get away from your family, or you want a full-time board and you want to go home for the holidays, those are all options we've got at school. And we have players who board, we have international players who come in. And we've got a couple of Nigerian players coming in this year, which we're really excited for. So again, that's another experience which is getting you closer to sort of the US experience of having different cultures, different nationalities in the same dressing room as you, and even maybe living with some of them at Kingsley. Thanks, Liam. I'm whizzing-ish through this, and again, it will be sort of a case of any questions at the end, fire me via email, or you can message this chat, or just like I'm always around to get in contact with whenever you need. You can send an email, whatever it is. So the scholarship opportunities, every player with the FC Rise program has 20% off school fees straight away, and then the top 3 players for every year have 85% scholarship on school fees, and that's decided by myself, the other coaching staff, so Jason, and then Mr. Pavis, Rob Pavis, who's the head. After an interview, that's how the process. We'll have a trial, and then you would come for an interview with the head and myself, and that's sort of to understand whether you're a suitable candidate for a bigger scholarship. Basically, what would you bring to the program, which is not just your football ability. How will you help out with the young kids? Will you represent the school really well? Those things, and that's where the larger scholarships come in. And then there's occasionally a bit of middle ground where a sort of a 50 or 60%, something like that, is awarded. But that's sort of the fee, the financial side, because appreciate that as much as we'd love to get this kind of program out to everyone and make it accessible, it's a private school, and there are fees associated with it, and the school's having a big push to try and make this a really good football program. So that's why they're bringing in the 85% scholarships. For this year, they're all taken, for example, but the following year we're already starting to look at players. So in terms of the next steps, that was a whistle-stop tour, and I'm sure Liam would sort of echo this from his point of view. But Liam, on the next slide, I've just got what you guys can do for the FC Rise. The barcode's there, but it's essentially takes you to the website where you can register your interest in the course. And now you can do this at any age. And I've got a spreadsheet basically of players who register their interest. So I can keep tabs of and keep in contact with these players as you get closer. So I've got your age and then the year you would enroll on the course if you were on the course. And then when it gets close, we then hold trials, open trials, from which we take players for interviews, and then a scholarship offer would be sent to you, or some sort of offer, whatever it is, 25% up to 85%, and then the ball would be in your court, as it were. Hopefully, for those of you who are in Devon and in FC Devon already, you will have contact with me a lot, so you'll always be able to ask me questions, and I'll be able to have an eye on players coming through. And then for any parents, players who are listening from further afield, we of course take players from all over UK and internationally, and all in the sense of creating a really strong program, and then what the next step is, whether it's UK or US university, and of course that's where Liam comes in with USA scholarship. So that's really me. Ramble, but hopefully it gave a good taste of my life over in the States and what I'm doing now. And I mean, it just sort of goes to show that my experience was fantastic, and I'm now coaching full time, which yeah, is a job, yeah, just fantastic job to have, and something which again I don't think things align, don't they? But yeah, who knows whether I would have come out doing this if I hadn't have gone and done something like that. So thank you for all coming on board, and yeah, that's my spiel over. Yeah, it's any questions, send me an email. I don't know if it's on the. I'm trying to look if it's on there. Might be able to put it in the chat. I'll put my email address in the chat so that any questions you can just fire my way. And if you want to stay on, I'm more than happy to stay and answer any questions now. But if you want to, and I'm sure Liam, will you be the same?
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. Like if anyone's got any questions now, feel free to, and Frank can pass on my contact information.
yeah.
Also, feel free to go on the website, ussportscholarships.com. We do hold our own trial events for America all throughout the country. The next one's October 28th in Essex, so not on your doorstep, but we will have one in kind of your way soon as well.